What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Amateur TV for another video on the second channel. Thank you so much for joining me today to discuss Chris Bosh versus Pascal Siakam all time for the Raptors career. Who is the greater Raptor? Thanks so much for tuning in. Be sure to drop a like on this one if you find yourself enjoying along the way, and make sure you are subscribed to Amateur TV for more content concerning the Raptors all throughout the offseason on the second channel. Make sure you're all subscribed to my main channel, Amateur Sports, with over 10,000 subscribers. Help this channel get to 1,000 subscribers. So what I want to do in today's video is discuss the Bosh versus Siakam all-time Raptors power forward debate. Who is the greater Raptor all-time in the position? I know Chris Bosh played a little bit of center as well for the Raptors, but I would say overall, we were to probably talk about Chris Bosh's position. Was a power forward. I think that's pretty, like, we can all agree Chris Bosh is a power forward. So when we compare them to one another, who is the greater Raptor of all time? This debate has just kind of started coming up again on social media, especially on Twitter. So I really did want to give my take on this. I've given it before, but I would like to give it again and go a little bit in depth as to why I think it is what it is. So Chris Bosh versus Pascal Siakam. So Chris Bosh, the former 4th overall pick, left the Raptors after the 2010 season, 2009-2010 season, joined the Miami Heat. Raptors fans, they look back on that like they hate him for it, but most have come around. To me, I mean, the Raptors were really going nowhere with Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh was taking the Raptors nowhere, so I can understand why he wanted to join LeBron and Wade. I mean, who wouldn't want to join LeBron and D Wade in Miami, win a couple rings there? So anyways, let's discuss the Raptors' career. So first of all, this is Chris Bosh, his statistics here. A lot of good numbers with the Raptors. In fact, he made the All-Star team 5 times with the Toronto Raptors from 2006 all the way to 2010. That's impressive, 100%. Five All-Star appearances. And along the way, amassed 1 All-NBA second team appearance in 2007. So that was impressive. But Pascal Siakam has also been impressive. In much less time, Siakam, the last 3 seasons, has put up near All-Star numbers. I would really wager he should have made the All-Star team this season. Absolute robbery. And the fact that he made the All-NBA team this season would suggest that he was good enough to make an All-Star team. But he does have an All-Star appearance and does have 2 All-NBA appearances. Now, this year, the All-NBA third team, I guess not quite as good as the All-NBA second team with Chris Bosh, but 2019-2020, Siakam did make the All-NBA second team. So Pascal Siakam also has, the championship, which is great, and I would probably give him a lot of points to go over Chris Bosh. We'll talk about more than that in just a second here. I also asked you guys on my main channel in a poll, and overwhelmingly we're saying Pascal Siakam is the greater Raptor of all time. But, the statistics, they reveal quite a bit, and Chris Bosh did have, a really good run with the Raptors, 100%. Siakam could maybe put up some similar numbers to that in 2 more seasons. Chris Bosh was like a good 3-year run of over 22 points per game, and over here, and he made it 5. Siakam has had that 3-year run, can make it maybe, it's not quite 22 here, but can make it maybe 5 years in a row by doing that. I expect him to get to, a similar amount next season. But regardless, the Raptors with Chris Bosh, admittedly, some of the years they didn't have the best team, but 232 and 277, not very good, especially when you consider the fact that, Pascal Siakam, the Raptors win a lot with him. And, you can say the Raptors have had a good team and whatever with Pascal Siakam there, and I think that's a pretty fair statement. But over the past 3 seasons where Siakam has done all this damage, he's been the best player on the team. He's been the focal point of the offense for all 3 of those seasons. One of those seasons did include a very losing season in Tampa Bay, 100%. But, the year after Kawhi left, when everybody thought the Raptors would fall back into obscurity in the lottery, the Raptors were the 2 seed in the NBA off of Pascal Siakam's performances. Now, playoff performances were a different story, but that's the Raptors with Siakam as their first option. And then this past season, they were the 5th seed with Siakam as their first option. And had he been healthy all throughout the season, maybe they would have been even higher, because he missed the first month of the season. Then he spent like another month getting back to 100%. And when he got there, Jesus Christ, was he a good player. The Raptors win a bunch with Siakam on the team. But greatness is defined by the small moments. So let's look at the small moments, like the playoff moments. The unfortunate part of Chris Bosh is that the Raptors never succeeded with him on the team. That's sure down to management not putting a great team around him. That's also Chris Bosh not really, getting us to the next level. We went 3-8 in the playoffs with Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh total wins in the playoffs with the Raptors would not equate to one series win. They only won 3 games. Whereas with Pascal Siakam, they do a lot of winning. And they also won an NBA championship, which is impressive and gives him a lot of points in a pretty even discussion. You kind of see the way I'm leaning here. And, there's going to be people out there say Siakam got carried to a ring. Siakam wasn't the second best player on that team. It was all Kawhi Leonard. We've heard the story so many times. Well, that's not true, because based on just points and adding in the offense, points at the end of the day are the most important thing. Pascal Siakam and Kawhi Leonard are, by a point standpoint, the second best duo of all time. They had the same amount of points as Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen combined in 1992. Scottie Pippen is a top 75 player of all time. Some would say he's a top 50 player of all time. So Siakam did that. Now, there's going to be people saying, well, the distribution of the points. Kawhi Leonard had way more points than Pascal Siakam. All of the players, all of the second options on this list, Kobe Bryant, Clyde Drexler, Scottie Pippen, Siakam, and Dwayne Wade, all had roughly a high 30s in percentage of points in the distribution of the points here. So, in fact, Pascal Siakam had a higher percentage of points towards the 1187 than Scottie Pippen did in 1992. It's not that relevant. It shouldn't be relevant because there are going to be people saying that it was all Kawhi Leonard. Pascal Siakam just tagged along. But Siakam was as relevant to the duo as Kobe Bryant was to Shaq, as Clyde Drexler was to Hakeem, as Scottie Pippen was to Jordan, and as Wade was to LeBron. Every champion needs a second option, or else they don't win a championship, barring some very few occasions. 1994, Hakeem didn't have Clyde Drexler and was able to do that. So every player needs to have that second option. Siakam was that second option to Kawhi Leonard. And since Siakam became a first option, he has had a great deal of success in the regular season. In the playoffs, obviously that Celtics series, the worst 7-game span of Pascal Siakam's career by far, since he became like what he is today. And that's unfortunate. That's an unfortunate thing we've got to live with. I think a lot of that was repaid in this series against the Sixers, except for that game 3 where he was horrible. Was the best player on the court, games 4 and 5, in a court that was shared with Joel Embiid and James Harden. That's impressive. Siakam, evidently a talented player. I just don't really have anything I can use to discuss Chris Bosh and his accomplishments with the Raptors. Now, I don't want to make this a hate piece on Chris Bosh, because obviously he's a very key part of the Raptors history, and for better or worse, I guess, but very key part of the Raptors history. And we respect Chris Bosh, everything he did with the Raptors. At least I do, and I think that's something that's important to mention, something that's important to say. I don't want to make this a hate piece on Chris Bosh, because there were some great things about him. I just feel like Pascal Siakam has produced more greatness in his time with the Raptors than Chris Bosh did with the Raptors. And that's not a hot take, and many people would agree with me in that endeavor. I think Siakam's already there, and I think if he can further strengthen his candidacy with some more all-star appearances, then it won't even be any discussion for anybody to say. People love to talk about Chris Bosh. Obviously, he's a Hall of Famer, but he's mostly a Hall of Famer because of what he did in Miami, helping them win 2 championships. Without moving to Miami, does Chris Bosh become a Hall of Famer? Probably not. I don't. you know what, maybe he still does, but maybe not. Miami really solidified his case in that endeavor. But what I want to kind of suggest here, and this is like, you know, when people say Vince Carter over Kyle Lowry all time, like as an all-time Raptor, it's just like we need to stop, or no, not, it's not that we need to stop really like putting these guys who are part of such a losing time in the Raptors history, these guys who are part of the eras that made the Raptors the joke of the NBA, like the Sacramento Kings of the NBA today. That's what the Raptors were. It's time to stop. I wouldn't say it's time to stop celebrating the guys who made us that joke of a team. I think it's time. You know, the Raptors have been so successful over the last decade. Nobody saw that coming. That wasn't supposed to happen for this team that, you know, almost disbanded at a couple points in NBA history. It's time to start really having gratitude and celebrate the guys who made this team as great as it is right now. Do you know how many teams in the NBA would just kill to be in a position where they can make the playoffs 8 out of 9 years and win a championship in that span and be a competitive team, very competitive team, at least 6 of those years? Do you know how many teams have been trying year after year after year to put their team in a position like that? And guys like Pascal Siakam are keeping them in that position where they are able to achieve these things. When Kawhi left, that was supposed to be it. That was supposed to be the Raptors falling back. Ignore my dog. That was supposed to be the Raptors going back to that lottery. That was supposed to be it. The fun was over. But Siakam as the first option, along with the help that every star in the NBA needs, they need help, all of them, has kept us at this level. And it's going to prolong this window that we have. And, you know, maybe Scotty Barnes takes the reins at some point. But the fact that we can continue on in this path is as a result of the success of the team, and the biggest catalyst in that success over the last 3 years, maybe not the Tampa season, has been Pascal Siakam, and we do need to appreciate that. So that's all I have on this one. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on the Bosh versus Siakam debate in the comments down below. But that is it for me. Please drop a like on this video if you enjoyed, and make sure you're subscribed to MHR TV. We're getting close to 1,000 subscribers. I'll keep you entertained all throughout the off season. So hope to see you next time for another video.